I want to start this video first by saying thank you to everybody who has interacted with my last two videos, and welcome to all the new members. For those of you who have no idea what this platform is about, usually we talk about football business or sports business in general on the African continent, and how certain decisions made both in Africa and globally always affect Africa. This is all about business, politics, and of course the global power when it comes to sports. With that said, I want to base my video today on this particular comment, and I'm going to talk mostly about the last part of it. Now, this comment comes from one of my previous videos of where I was talking about Africans need to be prepared because certain decisions are going to be made of where, most likely, with what happened with CHAN and Africa, Kenya really uplifting it and giving it a major global viewership, that something may happen where Kenya may be stripped. Now, I said, I do not know, but I always said you always need to be prepared. Because again, this is all about global politics and of course power. Now, this comment says, Kenya lifted CHAN, so my panic that the same Kenya will be stripped of hosting right for AFCON is just panic. When it comes to global power, it is not just panic. It is always good to be cautious. And the last part says the CAF president will not allow it. And that is what I want to discuss. Because a lot of Africans do not actually realize the position in which the CAF president actually really is in when it comes to global politics, when it comes to football. Now, according to CAF statute, Article 24.2, FIFA Council composition. As always, I have my book to make sure I get all my facts right. The CAF president, immediately on election, becomes a FIFA vice president. This is not a position where we elect the CAF president and then we elect another person to be able to sit in the FIFA vice president seat. No. This is a seat where FIFA has given us for free, of where, since you've elected your CAF president, he's going to automatically become a FIFA vice president. That is a very dangerous place for us to be, because already anybody who gives you something for free usually wants something in return that is much greater. And that is what we're going to talk about. Therefore, once we have our president automatically elected, walking in and becoming a FIFA vice president, his loyalty will not be to Africa, who he's supposed to serve. His interest will automatically move to FIFA and UEFA interests. Now, Africa football infrastructure and development highly is supported by FIFA programs. Yet, FIFA, again, remember I told you it's about money. FIFA gets a lot of its money from revenue from European sponsorship, broadcast, and footballing quality. So they take money from Europe, and then a bit of that money is given to Africa for development initiatives. Already we are in from a position of lesser power, and Europe is in a position of higher because they give and we take. So we need to be able to change that dynamic, especially through convincing a lot of our billionaires and millionaires to start investing in the sport so that we also have a certain level of global power. FIFA already has leverage over CAF even before anything happens. And we know FIFA, by extension, historically, is a powerful European voting bloc. CAF president is already indirectly forced to align with FIFA and UEFA key votes. Support for CAF, if they decide, no, I'm not going to do that in a certain decision, one, CAF support is going to be pulled out. That goes also for financials. And because, again, it's global power, there's a high probability that the voting bloc might choose to remove him from office and we go into voting again. So always keep that in mind. Africa, from the get-go, we are not coming in from a position of power, but a position of lesser power. Now, here is where things become interesting. The major decision makers when it comes to FIFA is a group called the FIFA Council. These are the boardroom decisions. Forget about the 55 keleles that we have, the 54 in Europe and 55 in Europe and 54 in Africa. The council are the people who sit down in boardrooms and make decisions. These are the guys who say, put this competition on this day, remove it from this day. Africa will never host anything at Patia Africa World Cup once for the rest of their life, and they'll never host it again. These are the people who make these decisions. Now, this is how it is structured. The president is European, so of course you already know that. The vice president, we have one, of course, the one that is given to Africa for free, but Europe has 3 vice presidents who are elected to that seat. So already by election, they come in from a position of power. We are already outnumbered 2-1. Council members, we elect 6 from Africa. So inclusive our president, it becomes 7. On the European side, they elect 7, inclusive of their elected 3 vice presidents. They become 11. Automatically, Africa is outvoted by 4 people. At what point would our decisions ever make it across a table if we are constantly always going to be outvoted by 4? Because remember, Europe always votes as a bloc. Decisions made come in as a bloc. Africa, on the other hand, hey, anyway, let's just say from the get-go, our CAF president, who becomes an automatic FIFA vice president, immediately is a Western puppet, no matter what you do. Now, you remember I always said, everything is about money. Money is power. Money shifts the business, it shifts the politics, and it shifts the global power. So that automatic seat that Africa was given was never for our advantage. That was never for our advantage. It was literally to be able to kill our development opportunities and our decisions made on behalf of Africa. Because every other day, we were always going to be outvoted. No matter what happens, we will always be outvoted. We are always at the mercy of Europeans. And that is, of course, because a lot of times for our development, we depend on money coming in from the Europeans. And then remember, a lot of our federations are equally corrupt. Therefore, when money comes in from the Europeans know you're going to be corrupt as F. So what's going to happen? This money is going to disappear. And of course, development doesn't happen. And so we are going to keep taking and taking. But the more we take, guess what happens? Remember, there was a discussion of where the General Assembly of Africa, people were talking about how the federation heads were being bribed to vote against Africa and vote for that. That's where that comes in. That is where economic power comes in. Now, the General Council is just one of those guys. We have 54 votes. Europe has 55 votes. These are usually Kelele peoples. They're not the decision makers. So we never really focus much on what they have to do, as much as you're going to keep checking in and out. But always we check on the decisions that are made by the council members. And for that reason, when you say the CAF president will not allow it, always remember it is not his decision. If they go back and sit in that council room and the decision is made that, hey, Kenya is a threat when it comes to this, remove it from them, we will be removed. It is not up to his decision. And yes, maybe he may decide to protest a bit, but at the end of the day, he is a Western puppet. And the way they caught him is all these free trips and stuff. You're always flying first class and that. You're always giving him money for development. So at the end of the day, he's kind of on the beck and call for Europe. So anytime when you look at certain decisions being made, don't look at it on the face value aspect of it. Look at it from what the global aspect and what the political and the business and the money, look at it from that aspect, and then you'll understand where certain decisions are coming from. That's it today for my video. I hope you learned something. See you next time.